Okay, we're doing this.
Emily's very excited.
I'm very excited.
I got to see period cups, right?
I got to see Christine yesterday and today. This is a great week. Okay, so today we're joined by Christine Brown, the founder of Kind Cup, a menstrual cup designed to be more comfortable, sustainable, and body friendly. Christine created Kind Cup after realizing how many period products force people to adapt instead of working with the body. With her background in design and commitment to transparency and sustainability, she's changing the conversation around period care. And I should just say, for years, Natasha's been telling us and our entire friend group the dangers of using tampons. She got all of us off tampons. And now more and more is coming out on the topic. So we really wanted to address that today.
I haven't gotten all of you switched yet, but I'm working on it. Just to, highlight some of my friends out there.
Don't call them out here.
I'm not going to call them out. But they all have one because I've sent them all Kind Cups.
You've been a huge supporter, so thank you.
Yeah. So I'm very passionate about this. I mean, I was personally told by other friends in my, whatever you want to call, Crunchy Mom group to switch over to Period Cup years ago. And a little background, that's a TMI, but hey, that's okay. That's what we're here for. I tried every single one before I found Kind Cup. Even got one stuck in me. I had to call my girlfriend, who's my best friend, who's an OB-GYN now. Luckily, I've known her since we were 8 years old. So she came right over because she lives around the block and she helped me get it out because I was so freaked out. I found the Kind Cup and it was the best cup and I had no association with it. Christine, I happen to know and love your brother because I shop from him all the time at the farmer's market. And so it was like the biggest coincidence that we came together. And so I love the cup because of so many different reasons. It's medical. It's a platinum grade cup with the silicone. You have to be careful with silicone just because it can have plastic in there. The design itself is so comfortable. It has a tiny string that you don't feel, so it never gets stuck. Can you show everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
And this is not an ad in any way.
Oh, I don't do ads.
We're just huge fans.
Huge fans.
Also, we need to address sort of the larger issue.
Yes, the larger issue. Well, let's talk about that recent study that came out. It screened 59 reusable feminine hygiene products across 5 different product types for total fluorine. And what fluorine is, it's a marker for PFAS, right? PFAS is what people usually know it as, like that forever chemical that's applied to nonstick pans. People might know it as like Teflon, right? But what people don't realize is that it's applied to a lot of different products, like floss. People didn't know it was applied to floss. And this study found that period underwear and reusable pads had the highest rates of intentional PFAS. Sometimes there's PFAS that is just there, but it's not intentionally applied. When it's intentionally applied, that is for a reason to try and make something water resistant, stain resistant, all of that. And in this case, to maybe help with the absorption of your menstrual cycle, right? And in this study, they found it was over 110 parts per million, not parts per billion, 110 parts per million. So much more total fluorine in many cases. PFAS was detected in 100% of the extracted products and even neutral and ionic PFAS. So that was a crazy study. But honestly, like what I want to ask is, do consumers have enough information and transparency in the market about PFAS and other chemical exposures in menstrual products? And what do you want to see improved upon in that?
Yeah, I think it's a topic that is clearly needing more research across the board. Even the researchers themselves are saying, yep, we need to learn more about this and the effects and how it all works with our bodies. And unfortunately, we've seen time and again, especially in this space of women's health and people who have uteruses, it's so overlooked. And that's not fair to half the population. This isn't just a problem that's happening in the United States, this is global. And so the more information that we can get on these types of topics that are impacting our daily lives and overall lives, the better.
I want to just read some of the headlines, though. I need to admit, Emily gave these to me. I'm not always up to date on the news. She's the news person. Just to throw that out there. Just to be all honest. Some tampons, especially cotton ones, including organic, have been shown to contain pesticide residues from cotton farming.
So you're putting pesticide residues inside of it?
Into your vaginal canal, that literally...
And that's probably a reflection on the growing practices in this case.
Chlorine bleaching of tampon, cotton, or pulp can produce dioxins and furans, which are known toxins and have been associated with cancer and reproductive harm.
Like, why has this been going on so long?
Another one, there's no regulatory requirement in many places for tampon manufacturers to list all chemicals or conduct regular testing for a broad suite of potential toxins. I don't think people realize that when you put a tampon in and you have menstrual cramps and severe pain, that's not normal. I used to hate getting my period. And when I switched over to the cup, everything disappeared. I don't have cramps. It doesn't hurt. It's, annoying because my kids walk on me all the time when I'm in the bathroom. That's just, and all 4 of them. So they all know about a period from a very young age. But that's the biggest problem that I have. And so I'm trying to convince more people to switch over from tampons, but it's very frustrating. And another headline, UC Berkeley NIEHS funded study tested 30 tampons from 14 brands across the US, the UK, and Greece. They found all 16 metals and metal alloys that they tested for present in every single tampon.
Crazy is that?
And we're wondering why we're all having issues. It really drives me crazy when people say, oh, well, we did that when we were kids. We're fine. Look at us. We're all fine. We're not fine. There's a lot of problems, fertility rates, children going into early puberty. We all have gut issues. There's a lot of problems out there. But there's hope. I don't want to end on there's hope as long as we start making changes and reducing our exposure, like with the Kind Cup.
So I guess that leads us to tell us more what inspired you to create Kind Cup and what problems you saw with period products that led you to design your own.
Yeah, so I did not grow up knowing about menstrual cups. I knew that there were pads, and for my sister, tampons. That was it. It wasn't until I was in grad school that I even found out by chance, completely randomly, that cups existed. And I'm the type of person where as soon as I knew that they were there, I literally hopped on my bike, went all around Washington, D.C. until I finally found one on a shelf of Whole Foods, because you couldn't just go online and order one back then. So I finally found one, tried it, and was like, done. Game over, never going back to tampons, right? And that's a very common experience for people who switch over, because cups truly are such a wonderful experience. They don't scratch. You don't have a pee string anymore. You can go up to 12 hours. It's phenomenal. Plus, you're saving a bunch of money. So that's something that is true across pretty much any reusable product. Now, at the time, I was working in architecture and design and human-centric design. Plus, just the way that my mind works, I'm constantly going, how can this be a better experience? And as great as my experience with the cup was, I can't shut that off in my mind. It's going. And so years went by and I'm telling myself, well, I can't wait to see these improvements. The existing companies, they must know about this. Of course, they're going to want to create a better product, right? And no one did. Years went by. So I finally hopped online. And at the time, you could go look at blogs or look at reviews. Amazon started to be a thing. So you could look at reviews on Amazon. And hundreds and hundreds of people were talking about how it was uncomfortable, they were leaking, it was painful, and so many of these reviews and these testimonials, they thought something was wrong with their body. And I'm reading this just going, no, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. You just need a product that's designed for you and that's going to work for you. And I literally shut my laptop and said, that's it. I'm going to figure this out. There's clearly a need. Did I have the money? Did I have the resources? Had I built a medical design company from the ground up before? No. But it was something where it all step by step came together, and I was able to secure a bunch of patents, trademarks, the whole thing, and create a product that was truly adding value to the market and value to consumers. And the main aspect was the design. The 3 aspects altogether was I wanted an improved design that was going to put the user experience first, be more comfortable, be easier to use. The second was I wanted it to have the highest quality and most sustainable materials throughout. This was an opportunity to truly create a better industry standard, because I was doing it from the ground up. And the third reason that truly was why I jumped in and dedicated everything that I had towards this was because of the possibility of positive social impact. This is a product that can be reused up to 10 years. That's security and peace of mind for 10 years. We have our periods for 40 years of our lives. That's a
Have you done
lot
the
of
math
time.
on how many tampons that is?
I have, and so have others. It's over 10,000 single-use products
Wow.
over an average. This is if you have a normal quote unquote period.
And
Not
for all the women out there who've had children and use an organic tampon, which I've experienced, you bleed like crazy after an hour and you have to change it for the first 2 days, at least for me.
yeah. So luckily, I didn't. My heart goes out to everyone who has to experience that. There's a lot of people who switch over to products like this because of the capacity. So
Yeah.
people, they'll switch to reusable products for different reasons. One of them can be because of their flow. They don't want to be in the bathroom every hour, every 2 hours, switching out a tampon. That gets old. And so for something like this, you have 6 regular tampons of capacity in the size
Oh,
regular.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. 6
Yeah.
regular tampons. Wow.
And then 4 regular tampons of capacity in the size small.
I've gotten the mini for some of my tiny friends. Am I not supposed to call them out?
Nope, you're not allowed. This is we're respecting their boundaries.
From your experience, Christine, what are the major risks or downsides that people may not realize with tampons, especially when you're comparing it to reusable alternatives?
To be honest, I haven't dived into the risk aspect so much. For me, it's more of it should just be common sense that we should know what's going inside our bodies, that we should be able to trust what's going inside our bodies. I think I've kind of tried not to dive into it because I don't want to get too pissed off.
I get that.
It's infuriating that we're at a point where we're having these headlines that go viral every few months of, oh, here we go again, another thing. And I think we're getting to a point where we're tired of it. We're over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's surprised by it, which is sad.
Yeah.
And part of why I wanted to do this in the way that I've done it is because I want to show that it's possible. That as a small, independent, bootstrapped brand, there's no reason we should be cutting corners in order to make a few extra bucks. It can be done, and there's no reason why it's not being done other than values, other than do you truly want to be doing something that's adding value to the world?
I don't think people realize the typical tampon, besides being sprayed, that when you're getting the cotton and harvesting it, spraying with pesticides, they're bleaching it, right, with chlorine. And you're putting that into your vaginal canal, which is one of the most absorbable parts of your body. You're absorbing everything into that area. And for me, TMI, again, like when you put it in and it's a little bit drier and you have to pull it out because you have to readjust, it A, hurts. B, I swear some of that cotton got off and got stuck up there. And that can
It does. It does. That has happened. You're creating micro tears with tampons because it's scratching your vaginal canal. Whereas with a silicone cup, it's smooth. It's medical grade silicone.
It does not hurt. If I put it in and I'm like, oh, I wasn't paying attention. Like I put it in incorrectly. I can pull it out. Doesn't hurt. Goes right back in. And
if you need to, you can use water-based lube just to make it that much more seamless and easier and comfortable. There's little tips and tricks that people. I love when people reach out with questions because I'm like, oh, I've got a solution for that.
Natasha too, by the way, and she doesn't even work for you.
Yeah, but that's what this does.
That question.
100%. That's what this type of product does. You experience it and you go, you got to try this. It's that type of a thing. And will one single product work for 100% of people? No, that's absolutely impossible. So there are some people who they will benefit from a cup. There's some people who will benefit from a menstrual disc. We deserve options, right?
Are you opposed to period underwear? What's your take on that?
I'm not. In fact, I have 2 nieces, 9 and 11. They know what I do at this point. My sister's given the green light and explained it. And then at their last visit, they were all in my office and helping me with a big restock and asking questions. In fact, I had a couple of these age-appropriate books out. So I had them out and they were just casually flipping through it and then got to the end and went, I actually really want to read this. Read it now. I'm like, great, go for it. And they asked me all the questions they wanted. So I have two nieces, 9 and 11. And I went, and my friend Kim with Period Nirvana, she sells all these products online. So if you want an Amazon alternative, Period Nirvana is phenomenal. It's curated, and I trust her. So I was there for her grand opening in North Carolina and did a bunch of shopping to get both of my nieces a starter kit, because I want them to have, to me, it's important. I don't want them to be using products that are going to be harming them. Our bodies are amazing. They're incredible. They're resilient. Should we be putting them through that? No. Do we have better options? Yes. And so that's what I want available to them. So I got them set up with some kits. And then when they're ready, they know where to go.
I think that's great because, like, speaking of kits, I'm all about making like a period kit for, I have 3 girls, I have 1 boy, and I think it's really special when you have that kit where I put the period underwear, I have an organic pad in there, and I put like a little lip gloss and something fun for them so that they can feel like it's exciting and not something that feels awful. Because when I started explaining it more to my 9-year-old, it's a progressive conversation. She was very frustrated. She's like, wait, I have to have this and my brother doesn't? She's like, well, that sucks. So
It does.
that was her
It does.
response.
Well, I mean, can you also say here, Natasha, because I loved what you have said to help me educate my son about what is a period, so that we're raising boys, men who are not afraid to talk about it.
Correct. They need to be aware of this. And I like to do it around 9. Obviously, there's a progression there because especially girls are getting their period sooner and sooner. That's a whole nother topic and conversation, Christine. But it's great for boys to understand and for them to know what their peers are going through and to know what it means. And I think a lot of us tend to shy away from that conversation. And so my son, who's 11, he has classmates that have their period, and he is fully aware of what's going on and what does that mean. And sometimes both boys and girls can have more feelings, be more sensitive, and that's normal when they're going through puberty.
I think I heard you say once, we want to be raising the boys who are the ones like lending a sweatshirt if they needed to tie around their waist versus the boys who are making fun of the stains on their pants.
Correct. So my son fully knows. He says he's like, well, I'm not sure I would say anything to the girl. He's like, I'd give her my sweatshirt. He's like, but I'd feel more comfortable telling the teacher. And I said, that's fine. But as long as you're aware that you don't want anybody else making fun of her. So if you see that, you stop it.
I think
so I
that's
think that's
great.
the important part.
It is. And I've heard so many stories just being in this industry over the years. And I'll do Earth Day festivals. And so I'll have conversations with all ages. And it's one of my favorite parts of what I do. And just to the point of a young boy in a classroom offering a sweatshirt, someone who at this point is probably in their 70s was recalling the first time that she had her period in class. She had no idea. And a boy from her class came up and offered the sweatshirt and told her. And she still remembers that. Mm. To have that kind of experience is incredible. That's something that you don't forget.
I love that. Yeah.
So we were talking about the material. Explain why material transparency with a cup is so important. And there are other cups on the market. Like, what should people look for, and what do you guys offer and test for, et cetera?
Yeah, great question. Going to try and keep my cool on this one because there's so much.
Yeah, we don't like to put anyone down.
People don't know.
Right.
Christine is very passionate about this, which I love.
Which you are too. So in good company.
Yeah. But being on this side of things, there's a lot that is just protected behind NDAs. And it's astounding what's out there. And having gone through full intensive FDA 3-day audits and California medical device licensure audits, and like they go through everything, and we've been successful with all of it because we actually do everything that you're supposed to do. But the number of manufacturers, for example, that I had to simply rule out because And they knew what I was about. They knew what I was wanting to do, the standards that they kept saying, this is going to be expensive. You don't have to do the Rolex or what, I don't know watches, but they were just saying like the top of the line. There's other ways to do this. We can be getting you much better quotes and more competitive pricing. And, you can just use food grade pigment and just no one's going to know. I'm like, I will.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm doing this.
This is why it's so important to talk to founders and really understand their mission and their passion.
Yeah. And I don't want a manufacturer pulling me aside in the hallway saying, we really want to work with you because you actually are doing what you say you're doing. And you can put that on the packaging. And like, I don't want to be the exception to and these are manufacturers that are doing dozens of other cups. Wow. So this is what's out there. I'm not going to be the exception there. So unfortunately I am in a lot of ways, but like that manufacturer was out. Like the conversation was over. You know what I mean? So that's what goes into it from my perspective. And there's been times where I've been sold out for longer because it's hard to secure the top of that. Like there's only so much of the best, right? And I will take the hit as a business because I'm not willing to compromise and go to, what everyone else is doing.
Okay. So for those people who haven't tried it yet and might be a little nervous, what are common mistakes and how can they be avoided?
So every box comes with instructions and they have these cute little drawings that really spell it out.
See, she's showing us it has all the drawings of how to do it on the instructions.
I said it's very clear. No one else has that kind of diagram to really explain it. It helps a lot.
I wanted it to be something that was going to be putting the user at ease. This is something where you want it to be a positive experience because why not, right? So everything from the design to the instructions, and we're here. Like if someone has questions, again, I love when they reach out. So common mistakes, I guess, the first misconception is that this looks big. It looks intimidating. There's people who don't realize that this is flexible. It really is soft. And for insertion, you're folding it. So once you fold it, and I know that you have a lot of listeners, that's, the size of your finger, basically. And there's two different folds that you can do. If you want, you can do the punch down fold. That's like the width of my pinky in terms of the initial insertion point. So depending on the fold that you do, it's really not that big. And so I think that's what intimidates a lot of inexperienced first-time cup users. The second part in terms of the misconception is everyone has that friend where they tried a cup and they couldn't get it out. And they don't want to have that experience themselves. So they just go, oh, no, I'm never going to try that. Right?
Right.
This was intentionally designed to alleviate that fear. At least that was my hope. And the number of people who go, oh, yeah, this is the only cup I can use because this is the only cup I can reach. And
what
again,
you're showing with the cup, it has a string for those who are listening. You do not feel the string at all. And you can easily just pull on it and then pull it down enough to be able to collapse the cup to get it out.
Thank you. Yes. It's reminiscent of a tampon string. And when I was going through all the iteration of the design and the R&D and everything that was behind the scenes before I launched with the product, every single person who was working with me on this just went, oh, that's way longer than everything else. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, this is intentional. Let's do it. Like that's a design.
I love having the string. It makes me feel so much more comfortable. And honestly, you do not feel it. So many people reach out to you, feel the string. You do not feel it at all.
One thing that you do want to be mindful of, even though it looks like a tampon string, it doesn't function like one. So if you pull straight down, you're working against the seal of the cup. So when it does come for time for removal, you want to use the string as a guide of, oh, okay, there's my cup. I can reach it. I'm going to be able to get it out. And once you get there, work your way up to the base by wiggling it down. And as Natasha said, from there, you can reach up to be able to pinch the base and then finish removing the cup. And then you just empty it out, wash it out, and put it back in.
That's a better way, wiggling it down. Yeah, you're not just pulling.
Right.
Yes, yeah. I wiggle it, yes, to get it
Yeah,
down
exactly.
enough where I can actually collapse the cup.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where, just like anything new, right? I remember when I tried my first tampon, I did not get it right. It
No.
was like, I knew enough to go, there's no way this is right. So
No.
you
I remember
gotta,
having a friend at camp showing me, she's like, you can't use a pad. And I had just gotten my period. I was 13 and I went to camp that summer and she's like, you have to use a tampon. She's like, I'll show you how to do it. And she was like, there, put it right in. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, all right. And it was hard because like you mess up and it gets stuck. And again, like the tears, everything, and it hurts sometimes. And so I'm excited for the day where my girls will have their period underwear and, you know, their organic pads and then eventually switch to a cup. And that's our plan.
it's worth sticking with it, figuring out what works for your body. And once you get it, you're set.
Well, some of the other questions I commonly got were about how do you go to the bathroom in public? Is it like World War III when you dump it out? You know, do you get it all over you? Like, I'm afraid of blood. Got a lot of those.
Yeah. And those are common questions. So I am a huge fan of when you're first getting used to your cup, the shower is your friend. So practicing insertion, that way, and you don't even have to practice when you have your cycle. That's the beauty of this. It's not like you're putting a tampon into a not like, you know, when you use a tampon on the last day of your flow and it's like,
Yeah, it's not
it's not like that.
Yeah.
So you can actually try and practice using your cup even before you have your period.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And if you have a very regular cycle, like for me, I just have it in my calendar. I don't use an app or anything like that. I just have it as a reminder in my calendar every 28 days. And then I know I'm in my 12-hour window just because that's how my body is. And so if I know I've got a full day and I'm out the door by 5 a.m. and I'm going to get my period later, I just put my cup in. Because again, you can have this in your body up to 12 hours. So if I start my period when I'm out in the middle of a long day, I'm good.
I'm
set.
thinking because I realize I should do that because I'm very consistent. Huh. I don't do that. I just wait until I feel it. And I'm like, oh no.
And then wherever you are, you're like, oh my God, I don't have a kind cup. I need to order more.
Oh yeah. That has also happened when I'm traveling. And Christine has definitely overnighted me some.
I do my best to keep you stocked.
Oh, Christine, I love you. No, that's how much I don't want to use a tampon. Yeah.
Oh, it sucks. There's been times where I've just been so busy that I don't even look at my phone. And I've one time in the last, I don't know, since 2011, however many years that is, I had to use a tampon once. I couldn't wait to get back home.
I same thing. I had to use a tampon. It was a year ago. I was in a different country going on a hike with a bunch of friends, and I was like, it wasn't even friends. It was like a business group. Anyways, I was very uncomfortable because I had to pull over. We had to find a tampon. The place didn't have tampons. I found a tampon. I was like, oh, and my husband's like, don't complain that it's like toxic. Just use the tampon. So I used the tampon on our hike, and I'm like, couldn't wait to get home. Thank God I had my cup with me. I traveled with my cup night and day. Like I was actually starting to cramp on my hike. I really didn't like it.
That goes back to an earlier question, actually. And unfortunately, again, we need more studies. So this is anecdotal, which is kind of the best I can do at this point. But thousands, as soon as they switch over to a cup, they feel like they have less cramps. They have lighter and shorter periods. Like these are things that should not be associated with the product that you're using. And so the fact that they feel like they have more cramping and heavier, longer periods because they're using tampons versus something like a menstrual cup, something's up.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Every single person I know who has stopped using tampons has had a significant shift in their period situation, cramps, PMS, etc.
So, Christine, what are you most hopeful about in the conversation around menstruation, like in health and body autonomy and sustainable period care over the next 5 to 10 years?
Is there any hope?
Is there any hope? There's always hope. There's always hope.
I love that question. My mind just goes, all right, let's fill the space, right? And for me, let's go big. Ideally, I would love that we are in a world where I'm here because people want the choice, but that this is no longer something where people are having to choose between period products and food, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of period poverty, but that's a reality for people in this country. It's also a reality around the world, but in this country. And that was why I would be teaching. I was working 7 days a week while I was doing all of this and launching, but I was teaching 8-hour days and then up till 2 or 3 in the morning working on my design for the cup because I knew that this was something that could make a meaningful difference in someone's life. And so the day that I launched, at that point, I had sold 1 cup and I had donated 15% of my first production run because that's what kept me up working on this and kept me going because I knew that that was going to make an immediate difference in someone's life. I get emails constantly for donations, and as much as I try and fulfill that as best I can, I'm a small business, right? So I'm hoping to be able to expand that aspect of my business. And in general, I would hope, to your question, that we live in a world where we no longer have insecurity around these types of products because we have solutions right now.
I love that. Yeah, that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this opportunity to raise awareness. This is so exciting for me to be able to share this with and talk about it with you.
I love
This
it.
is great.
I love it.
We love it. Thank you for being here.
This podcast does not constitute medical advice or recommendation. Please consult your doctor.